Go ahead.
How we doing, everyone? Welcome back to another edition of FSI's NASCAR Xfinity Series at Las Vegas. We have the Alsco Uniforms 300, a 200 lap event in Las Vegas. Quick recap on the trucks. An abysmal middle of the race. Up until lap 80. I'm sitting first in all contests. I have a little bit of John Hunter Nemechek sprinkled in with the Kyle Busch. Our values up in the top 20. It was looking really good, and then what happened? What happened, Mega Roller 31? Andrew, how did this happen to us?
I don't know. Same thing. I was doing really good. I was up thousands of dollars, and then all my value plays are taken out in the same wreck.
Just brutal beat. One of the worst things about NASCAR DFS, but also at the same time, think of it if we didn't have those value plays. We'd be right. I mean, those were chalky plays, especially Ryan Truex. I mean, we would have been launched into first, but that's the fun part about DFS NASCAR. And at the same time, it's the unfortunate part about DFS NASCAR. But we pick up our pieces. We're going to talk a little Xfinity Series. I think the first starting point we need to talk about is what are we going to do with the dominant 22 car? And it's been really hot all year. Austin Cindric. What is the move with Austin Cindric this week?
Well, I think he could be the John Hunter Nemechek of this. Hopefully he's not the Sheldon Creed of this, who started second in that truck race and usually has a strong dominant truck, but ran into trouble and ended up back in traffic, got dinged up, and really didn't do well. So Cindric should be able to get out there and dominate and still contend. Even there's some guys we're going to get to in the back that could get up front and definitely contend with them. Some mid-range guys that could get up there too, but he definitely seems to be the class of the field.
Yeah, Cindric I think is a little bit more polished than I would say Sheldon Creed. When it comes to Austin Cindric, he's right. He's racing Penske. He's got, a ton of experience in this car. He's pegged to be the next Keselowski in line for that too. So I really like Cindric. Other than that, I think my other dominator from the start of from the front, like the top 10 and starting, would have to be AJ Allmendinger at 9,600. He's looked really good the first three races. He had those. He's really good on road courses, but what really surprised me was last week how fast his car was, how good he is behind the wheel this year. I think AJ Allmendinger is going to be a dominator throughout the year, and I'm not gonna slow down in rostering him. I've been rostering him all three weeks. He's been really profitable. What do you think about Allmendinger, and is there any other potential dominators up front?
I definitely like that. I think that's going to be contrarian. I don't think he's going to have I have him projected as medium ownership, so I don't think he's going to be a very high owned play. The only other one up there I could really see is probably like Brandon Jones.
He's a good driver.
Like Myatt Snyder is starting on the pole, but he got that, basically a series of fortunate events happen for him to win the last race. Hemrick, he's got the equipment. It's Joe Gibbs, is a good car. But I think he's really trying to find himself as a driver. I mean, he was in Cup 2 years ago and really couldn't do anything, and he struggled in Xfinity here last year. But he's in a really good ride. But I think that his teammate Jones is going to get ahead of him. There's some other names up here, but I don't really see them like getting up there. I think we saw the good cars in the back get up to the front really fast in this race. You see some 4 or 5 wide, you definitely can pass here. That's not a problem.
Mm-hmm.
So I think very few up front. The ones we mentioned are the ones that are good to go with.
Yeah, I think these three are pretty solid. Hemrick would be the wild card, but I don't think I'll have much ownership with him. With that being said, we do have high price drivers in the back, much like we did in the truck. As you alluded to, what are we going to do with guys like Gregson, Allgaier, Tyler Reddick? What are we thinking about these really expensive, high-priced drivers that are starting in the back?
I think Gregson is definitely a good driver here. He's had success. I think he's pretty much finished behind Briscoe last year um, in the races. So it's not the same type of track it was last week where you have like the high tire wear and that high groove, but I think he can still excel and get up there. He's a good driver. He's got good equipment. Allgaier, same thing. I mean, they're teammates. They could probably work together to try to slice through this field, um, get up there. If I'm looking at last year, Gregson had the 3.2 as an average running position, and Allgaier was 7.4. So definitely um, gonna probably cut through the field just like Austin Hill and Kyle Busch did. Neither one of these drivers are Kyle Busch, but I think it's more of like an Austin Hill situation, but with both of them. Yeah. Reddick, I don't know. He's a Cup driver. This is not a high track. He's got more talent than probably a lot of the drivers in this field, but I don't know about his equipment.
Yeah, Reddick's driving this 23 SS Light. I think that's like the a green light team or something like that. SS.
Yeah.
I can never get it right, but
it's RSS. But what they took their equipment and they bought kind of the name for it. So because it all goes back to Daytona where he didn't qualify. Like he had this all figured out, like what he was going to come in and do in the Xfinity program early on. But then he couldn't have his car and team because they had the rain out. They didn't qualify. So he had to buy, the points from another team to be able to get in to start racing. But I don't think he's using their equipment. I think he kind of slid his equipment into it.
Makes sense.
With their paint job.
Right. Yeah. He's going to have to use their paint scheme. So like maybe he might have a little bit better than equipment than I thought heading in. And I definitely know he's a talented driver. Starting 40th, he really has a lot to prove. I think, though, at the same token, I think he's like 10-6. Am I wrong?
11-6. Yeah.
11-6. I think I'm going to fade Tyler Reddick tomorrow. Yeah, I don't think he can lead laps.
I don't think he's a fade. I think he's a great GPP play because I think that you're going to see chalk ownership on Gregson and Allgaier. True. So if you want to differentiate and switch him out with one of them and you have just them cut down a tire or something happen, get bad speeding penalty on pit road, like so many things could go wrong. And, he slides in there and makes a difference. Like a lot of people didn't have Nemechek tonight. And, the ones that did over playing the chalk of like Kyler Busch and like Austin Hill or Kyler Busch and like Parker Klingerman like really benefited. Or a lot of people played Creed too, paired with Busch to try to get the early dominator points and then get the later ones when Busch finally took over the field, and that didn't work out.
See, and that's what I'm going to try to pull off with Allmendinger over Cindric in a couple lineups. But I also was thinking I might do some Cindric Allmendinger lineups both together, and then maybe one or two maybe one of Gregson or one of Allgaier. I just don't know if 11-6 is going to be paid off with Reddick if he's not going to lead laps, if he's not going to get any fastest laps. And if he's not going to finish inside the top 15, then there's really no point to roster him at such a high price tag. Right. Yes, he is talented enough. Yes, there are things within the race that can make him pay off that salary. I'm just unsure if it's possible with his equipment and, with some of the other drivers in Xfinity being, in better stuff. I don't know. I think it's going to be a risk reward type situation when you roster Reddick. With that being said, we can move into some mid-tier lineups. GBPs, is there anyone you got in like the teens, starting in the teens, mid 7K to like 8K range? Like where's like the hidden GBP magnet? Is it Moffitt, Barry? There's Riley Herbst.
Justin Haley actually had 8th for average running position. Looking back, first Vegas race, he was 11.1. The Kansas races, similar track, 8.2, 10.3. Homestead, he ran 8.1. So definitely he has the probably 8th fastest like average of all the similar tracks that are used in the model. So he's one that could be sneaky for a GPP play. Probably my favorite guy, and I loved him last week, and I believe he blew his engine, is Harrison Burton. He's starting 22nd. He's $100 under 10K. So there's some place differential there. Last year he was 9.5 here, but if you look at the other tracks, first Vegas race 6.2, the Kansas races he was 3.4, 6.9. You have to average in the Homestead 26, but if you take that out, like he's definitely in the top 10 in speed. So really like him.
Yeah, Harrison Burton, I caught my eye too, and I think he's the kind of guy that can get into that top 10, top 5. He's a really good driver. I think my guy is going to be Herps, though. I like his average finish of 10th on this track, and then he had, he had 15 was it 15 top 10s or 15 top 15s? But I like his average run position of 11th as well. He's got Stuart Haas as his manufacturer. The Monster Energy, sponsorship. I just like how he raced last week. I'm gonna have some Riley Herbst, maybe Moffitt, and maybe some GPPs. He looks like that Our Sports or Our Motorsports is got a decent car with Moffitt. I mean, he led some laps last week. He looked promising in that car, and I had written him off completely. But yeah, Moffitt looked pretty good last week in Xfinity Series. I believe he was running in the inside the top 10 tonight for the Truck Series. He's been gaining a lot of experience week to week, and I think he makes for a decent GPP play at points in time. Is there any other mid-tier guys, or we good to move on to some value?
Well, you have Ty Dillon, like sticks out his sore thumb. Former Cup driver in like 20th, Joe Gibbs' car. He's 10-2, which is kind of steep. I think he's got like top 15, top 10 upside. I don't think he's going to lead any laps, but he's another person if you're trying to go look contrarian, and you want to build with some of these like mid-range high mid guys, not like the 11K group.
Right.
Yeah, but then again, 300 more and you have Cindric, but he might be a decent fade off of him. Something happens to Cindric and he gets the place differential and Cindric doesn't get the lead, then that definitely could pay off. But again, we're talking GPP.
Yeah, and the thing about Ty Dillon is he's really conservative driver. He usually waits and picks his spots. He doesn't really get caught up in the mess. What we saw tonight was shocking with the 4 wide that led to some wrecks. Ty Dillon's not typically one of those guys to do that, and then he usually bounces at the end of the race. So I can see that paying off in GPPs. I would try to pair that with Cindric or Allmendinger or something like that, or Gregson. I would make him like my driver too, and then we could transition this into value plays. Where are some guys that we can fill in to fit some of these 2-stud, 3-stud builds? My guy is going to be Colby Howard. I think you saw that coming. Average run position of 25th, average finish of 24th. He does have the 20% DNF rate. That is alarming, considerably high, but starting 38th, 37th. Is there 39 cars in the field, I believe?
40.
So he's starting 38th. I like Colby Howard. He's a better car. He has a better car and a better driver starting further back than the majority of these value plays. So what are your thoughts on Howard, and start rattling them off?
I definitely like Howard. I agree. I have him listed as one of the prime plays. I think he's going to have high ownership there. Let's see here. Let's sort it by salary, like we did.
Yeah,
like we did last.
There's quite a few good ones here for the Xfinity Series. Yeah. Let's hope they don't wreck all at once.
Yesterday for like the truck race, we kind of started like 7K and started looking down from there. Brendan Brown is the first one at 6,900, starting 25th. I think he's had a couple mechanical problems. That's why he's down that low. He's definitely probably a top 15 car right there. So with the 3 stud build, it might be kind of hard to get up to him. But if you take like somebody a little bit lower, if you're fading one of them and going with like your guy like Allmendinger, who's only like 9.6, then you definitely can get him in. I think he's definitely a steal at that price. Probably should be 8,500.
Yeah, I agree. He's way underpriced.
Yeah, next guy down starting 36 is Gray Galding. He seems pretty consistent. I think he could be a 7-8x play.
I got him starred.
Yeah, he could definitely get up into the top 20 starting 36. Alex Lab, it's okay. Jeremy Clements starting too high at 8.
Too high. Yeah.
Yeah. Curly starting 39th. Mike Harmon Racing, not sure about the equipment, so
same.
GPP. Colby Howard, we said definitely yes. Josh Williams, GPP, I can see that.
GPP,
yeah. He's a decent driver, but sometimes runs into issues. Gabe Buford, 27. I can see that.
Buford, really?
Yeah.
I did not have him listed, so I might have to write him down. What about Joe Groff?
Was he in the truck tonight?
No, Buford was not.
Okay. He sounds like one of the truck guys.
He does.
Yeah. I mean, JJ Yaley, it seems like he races like all kinds of series, like just as like kind of fill-in guy. Again, he's starting way too high. He's like 15th. I don't see him paying that up. Tommy Joe Martin, there's our guy.
I like Tommy Joe as a GPP play.
I wish he was like 26, not 21st.
Yeah,
but 56, definitely.
Yeah, I was gonna say the price tag is perfect. If nobody plays him because he starts like in those mid-20s, like the low 20s, and always like, hey, starting too high in the 20s. But if he's gonna finish within the 18 to 22nd place, higher finishing position, lower salary, it's always something I like to do in GPPs.
Well, how about this? How about I give you Chad Fincham starting $100 less, starting at 29th in a Hattori car who's good equipment.
It's true.
Yeah, I think I like that a little bit better. Next to Timmy Hill, Landon Castle, starting 14th and 18th, too high. The next zone, it's pretty nice. Stephen Parsons starting 33. BJ McLeod, sometimes they start in park, but they've been running more. It just avoid the 66 car. It seems like Timmy Hill when he's in that. It's not a BJ McLeod car, but that to definitely start in park. David Starr, if 28th is a little high, but I think
he has a decent car though. We saw that last race. His car is decent.
His running position is 25th. So I mean, if he finishes where he starts for that price, 52, yeah, I like it. Jesse Little, love him. He's always been a darling, and he's back down to 32nd. It's like he's not in the teens, so he's not going to win the race. He might not even finish on a lead lap, but he's going to outlast all the other people that crash and burn behind him. So he probably can finish 32nd or a little bit more. So it's good there. Joe Graff, he's talented.
Yeah.
26, a little bit high, but I think same thing at 48.
Yeah, the average run position of 24th though. Joey Groff.
Yeah,
I had him start as well.
Yeah, I haven't finished in 23rd, so there's 3 differential points there. So, yeah, definitely. Matt Mills, I'm not sure about him. And then Weatherman and Bean, definitely hard fades. They're starting in the teens, and they don't have the equipment, and the luck has gotten them up that far for the first couple of races. Seriously, running into problems, but I don't see anybody from there. So,
was it the truck series where the very last place car ran into the back of the 39th place car?
Yeah, okay. That's Daytona.
I thought
we're like, oh yeah, this 40th guy, he's gonna be good, and he runs right back into the back of that.
So truck series has not been our friend.
No.
I think I was profitable on the road course. That might be it.
Yeah.
Oh well.
Xfinity and Cup has been definitely.
Xfinity has actually been my best so far, except for did really well on the Daytona road course for the Cup series. But I think that'll do it. I mean, we pretty much broke down the whole field here, minus a few guys, but yeah, that's a pretty solid. Yeah, I mean, hey, it's if in a GPP anything can happen. We've seen it tonight. You know, Rex can start up once. I think like this truck race proved that at Las Vegas, when one wreck happens, okay, another one can happen quickly on a restart. And then on that restart, another one can happen if these guys continue to drive aggressive. Now, obviously, when the cup drivers get on the track, they're going to be a little bit better on these restarts. So I think it's the strategy is going to change. You know, we're not going to be trying to get place differential as much in the Cup Series, but for Xfinity with some of these other bad drivers on the track, we're going to take the same strategy we took last night. Looking forward to it. And Mega Ruler 31 and TK Nation 47. Thank you for listening in. Mega, thank you for joining me this evening. And I'm looking forward to tomorrow. If you want to find our Discord channel, find that on our company Twitter handle at FSI_DFS. You can get Mega's projections. You can get all those cool things we've been talking about in this video. And you can get our core lineups. They help you get you started. We'll be in the chat all day. Any questions you have? I think it's a 4 o'clock race. No late nights.
Yeah, it's not as late as tonight was. So.
Yes, thankfully. But yeah, thank you guys, and we'll see you tomorrow for some cup action.